Hi guys, after several requests we've decided to go ahead and do a review of some of the weapons that we skirmish with at our airsoft sites. We're going to start our first video today with the G&G TR418 Lite. For those of you who know your weapons, this is G&G's replica of the H&K 416 assault rifle, which is used quite well famously by the American Special Forces. If we look at starting at the exterior of the gun here, as you can see, it looks like an almost near full metal construction. This particular model, if we start at the front here, the main flash hider and barrel, along with the rails on the front and the main sights, along with the receiver and stock support, are all metal. All sling points and selector switches, along with magazine release buttons, are also metal. The trigger and also the gearbox. In fact, the only parts of this gun which essentially aren't metal is the 6-point adjustable crane stock, which holds your battery, and the polymer slightly rubberized grip here for the gun. The grip itself is actually quite well contoured. It's a very comfortable grip. It is a little big for the bare hand, however, but if you're wearing a padded glove or a combat glove, it does fit very snugly in your hand. Inside the gun itself, it's a version 2 high torque gearbox. This gives you around about 310-320 feet per second out of the box. This gun itself is doing about 305 at the moment, last time I chronoed it, and that's very good for 5 months old. Customization, this gun is very good for customization. As you can see, it is literally covered in rails from front to back. This will allow you to put almost anything you can think of on the gun. I myself have got a forward grip here, but lasers, torches, grenade launchers, scopes, you name it, you'll be able to put it on this gun, just to add a bit of personality to it, so it's very good for that. If we swap the gun over here, I'll bring your attention to one of my favourite parts of the gun here, the receiver flap here. Once it drops down, you'll see G&G's well-known pneumatic system. This actually fires back every single time a round leaves the gun. This looks exceptionally good on full automatic. If you do need to adjust the hop or anything in the gun, it is actually based behind it here as well, for easy access. This can also then be locked up again if needed. Another good point about G&G guns is what normally is simply just a solid piece of plastic or metal in most guns is this release button. This helps the durability of the gun. While using the gun, if you're finished your skirmishing, sometimes your spring will be locked back in a compressed position. Simply by pressing this button will release the spring internally in the gun, releasing it back out again, and that again reduces the wear and tear on the spring, and then obviously increases the lifespan of the gun. Durability and reliability, this gun is fantastic. It's a high build quality. This one is, as I said, around about 5 months old, and I would estimate there's probably been around about 10,000 rounds fired through this gun, and as of yet I have not had one problem with the internal workings. With regular cleaning and giving the internal gears the occasional spray of silicone lubricant, then this gun will last you a very long time indeed. Fully weighed up, as I say, it's mainly a full metal construction with a full magazine and battery in the stock. The gun is going to be coming in at around about 3.2 to 3.3 kilos. Heavy enough for an assault rifle. If you're running around for quite some time with it, it can get a little bit tiring. However, it's a small price to pay for the high build quality of this weapon. The cost of the weapon, this particular one is around about £300 here in the UK. That will and can be slightly more, slightly less, depending on where you buy it from. However, again, you're paying for what you're getting, which is a very, very good design and make of airsoft weapon. Now, this is a review, so we do have to come up with some bad points, and to be honest, I was hard pushed to come up with any major problems with this gun. However, I did think of a few. The first one is again here, the main flap on the receiver. Although it is very unlikely, the flap itself is made of metal, it's very durable, it is spring loaded. However, if something was to happen to the spring itself, or it was knocked possibly against a corner of a wall, or was maybe caught on gear, or maybe dropped quite heavily, it could potentially bend or damage the flap, thus not allowing it to close properly and then take the overall look off the gun. This is something I have not seen happen to other guns of similar design or with similar design features, so again, it's very unlikely. Turning the gun over, for those of us that are right-handed, the selector switch is in a perfect position. However, for those of us who are not, the selector switch is not on the other side, so the gun is not ambidextrous. This is G&G staying to the identical build quality of the gun. The original H&K 416 does not have the selector switch on both sides, so again, this is a minor issue. Another problem I've had, now again bearing in mind again, this gun has had about 10,000 rounds through it, and it's only happened to me about 6 times, is when using the gun on semi-automatic. There has been, as I say, 6 occasions when I've pulled the trigger, and instead of the usual, the trigger has locked on me and hasn't fired. This was simply corrected by switching the gun into fully automatic, and then back into semi-automatic, and the gun fired perfectly well again. As far as I'm aware, this is not a design flaw, this is not a problem with the gearbox, it's simply the gears tend to jam the occasional time if you're using it in semi-automatic. This is something that happens with other airsoft guns and is not limited to this particular gun in any shape or form. Well, I mean, there you have it. Overall, I rate this gun very, very highly. I am a bit biased, it is my gun, however, I'm very happy with the purchase that I made. And overall, I would give it a 9 out of 10. I would recommend it to anybody who's buying their first airsoft gun. Maybe a little bit expensive, but it is worth it. Or if you're currently looking for a new gun, I would recommend this very, very highly. Well folks, thank you very much for listening to our first review, and feel free to leave any comments. Thank you.